Then Kagali arrived at the answer. Look out, she immediately shouted. Kondo might be able to control people somehow. Heh, you're right. She thought he'd deny it, but he didn't. It was unnerving. So he's just revealing his hand. No, there's no point denying it if we already suspect as much. If he affirms it, though, that makes us warier of him. I don't get it. Why? Now Kagali wasn't sure what to believe. Kondo's behavior was beyond her understanding. She couldn't figure out her next move. The fighting wasn't going to bring them victory. It should have been best to stick to the original stall for time strategy, she thought. But she had no clue why Kondo was just going along with it. No, it's just not right. He said he wasn't going to put up with our attempts at stalling, so why? Ah, wait, that's what he meant. It was only then that Kagali realized just how much of a menace Kondo truly was. Everything he said had intrinsic meaning to it, she realized. And through the lies he had weaved, he was fully controlling every aspect of this fight they had. You're stalling for time, too. Oh, you finally noticed. You see how I'm helping you with your silly attempts at buying time now. It's too easy to decipher the thoughts of someone like you, you see. Despite her attempts at remaining calm, Kondo's taunts were hitting home. Don't give me that. Do you know why they call me the mysterious figure stalking the halls of information? You said it yourself, didn't you? You just said I could control other people. So why don't you also see that it's simple for me to obtain information from the people under my control? What is he talking about? An astonished Kagali wondered. It sounded too amateurish to be a lie. But if it were true, it was a tremendously important secret to leak out. It was hard to believe that such a careful man would do something to expose his own hand like that. This is a hassle for me as well, you know. Not even I know everything. The plan was to make contact with you all on the outskirts of the city. We hardly want collateral damage inside the capital, and going easy on you in battle like this is more trouble than it's worth. Going easy. Ho ho ho. You think that little of us, do you? Kondo's statement elicited further enraged excitement from Tyr and Footman. They were being taken in by his scheme, and Kagali knew how bad an idea that was. Her agitation grew. Calm down, you two. Don't let his words disturb you. She tried to stop them from going too out of control. Kondo shot her a glance, looking less than amused. Then, after a quick glance at his revolver, he put it back on his belt, for reasons only he knew. What a pain. Come on. Allow me to neutralize you as a threat without killing you. The moment he grasped his sword with both hands, the atmosphere changed completely. Now his aura was something only a true master could achieve. Tyr, allow me to take over here. Let's go, human. The two of them together struck such a presence that even those fighting around them felt pressured into stopping. Kondo kept his sword high, pointed up in the air, as he quietly gauged his foe. Footman, meanwhile, seemed to be ignoring any semblance of defense. His aura coursed across his body, shooting him forward like a gigantic bullet. He pinballed around, showing amazing agility for his well-nourished body. Then, accelerating with every bounce off the ground, he jumped around the vicinity of Kondo, erratically hopping from landing point to landing point, and growing faster all the time. Ho 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 ho. Try to follow me, if you can. Convinced he was exercising his full potential, Footman unleashed his finishing move on Kondo. The secret to his battle technique was the unique skill amplifier, and that, in essence, is what it did. Whether the movement took wave form or existed as mass, he could accelerate it at will. Simply bouncing off something sped up his body, and he could amplify his weight as well, giving himself mass far greater than how he looked. The sheer kinetic energy this generated could likely tear any enemy to pieces. Take this. Angry splatter. With absolute confidence and destructive power on his side, Footman lunged for Kondo. But without the slightest change of expression, Kondo unleashed a skill of his own. I've just executed Thundering Universe. You had best consider it an honor. The quiet announcement was heard only after it was all over. In a single instant, Footman's arms and legs had been severed. The action was far too quick to catch with the naked eye. It'd be absolutely impossible to pull off were it not for the awe-inspiring difference in ability at play. His head was still attached, but there was now blood spurting out from a gaping wound across his neck. Not even that would be enough to kill Footman, but he was understandably out of this battle. And you're Tyr, aren't you? Bind his arms and legs, and stop the bleeding out of his neck while you're at it. I can't have him dying on me yet. The order was given flatly, without emotion. The revolver was back in his right hand again. He was back to his original style. His body language indicated that he wasn't interested in fighting anybody else. What are you thinking? I'm not going to kill any of you. Especially you, Kagali, or the ex-demon Lord Kazlam, I should say. You have a lot of value to us. We can't afford to have you dead. Come on. You think I'm going to do that after what you've done? Heh. I'm not asking for forgiveness. Didn't I tell you that I can control other people? How loathsome of a man was he, even? Kagali eyed him hatefully. His manner of speaking irritated her to no end. She thought she had the right idea about all this, but she couldn't shake the feeling that she didn't. Every word Kondo uttered got on her nerves. Then a red burst of light emerged from Kondo's handgun. Seeing this, Kondo smiled a tiny, easily overlooked smile. Kagali was amazed he could smile at all. But at the same time, she sensed the biggest alarm bell yet. It was true. He really was stalling. It was far too late to realize that. She abhorred being toyed with for this long, but still Kagali searched for the best way out of this. It was clear Kondo had all his cards in order, although she didn't know what they were. It was impossible to escape. Even buying any more time was a challenge. And so there was just one choice to take. All Kagali could do was strike at the source of this danger, the calamity about to befall her friends. In other words, a suicide strike. Death, she determined, was the best way to prevent information leaks. As a walking dead, though, Kagali would not truly cease to exist. She'd lose her physical body, yes, but as long as she inhabited someone else, she'd survive. Footman and Tyr would realize what she meant to do. No doubt they were walking dead as well, and just like Kagali, literally dying was unlikely. If all of them advanced upon Kondo at the same time, they fulfilled their objective without revealing their intentions to him. Even if they all lost their bodies, they'd be able to escape and avoid the worst-case scenario. Such was Kagali's decision, the best ship she had to play right now. But how annoying. Tsurugi went through all this trouble to obtain my body. It took a while for me to settle in, too. Although it beats losing it all anyway. I hate to involve Footman and Tyr in this, but I'll see that they receive stronger bodies next time. Her mind was made up. Laplace, she believed, would help clean up later. Kondo was just too strong unexpectedly so. Based on her current assessment, Kagali believed he and Laplace were an even match, that Kondo had a slight advantage. Even if he made it here, and they fought together, that still wouldn't assure victory. It'd be foolish to put Laplace in danger as well, she reasoned. What she wondered about was just how Kondo managed to take over other people's minds. She wanted to flee after finding that out, but that might just be too greedy of her. So putting aside her doubts, she sprang into action. Well, just look at how much this human's toyed with us, huh? Footman, Tyr, stop playing with him, and let's give him everything we've got. And you'll get to see the full powers of the one they used to call a demon lord. Kagali stretched out her aura across her body, exercising power beyond all her limits. A borrowed body like this one had no chance of withstanding this. It'd be lucky to survive another few minutes. But this way, at least, she could settle this without Kondo thinking she chose to end her own life. Footman and Tyr, seeing Kagali's move, immediately understood her plans. Ho ho ho. It'll take more than blowing my limbs off to stop me. Yeah. And I'm still in this, too. I haven't gone all out in ages upon ages, either. It's so exciting. Footman, following Kagali's lead, pulled up his body and started bouncing around. Tyr began unleashing her aura as well, blowing it up into a massive presence in the middle of the capital. If Kondo could be convinced this was a suicide strike aimed at taking both sides out, the strategy would be a success. But despite the situation he was in, Kondo didn't even bat an eye. He remained calm and measured as he sheathed his sword and spot-checked his revolver. Then, as casual as can be, he immediately rained all over Kagali's parade. So I understand that walking dead can survive in spiritual form alone. It was a statement they ignored at their peril. Among their companions, only Yuki knew the trio's exact species. It was highly confidential intel, something not even Damrata was aware of. Nobody, not even Kondo, could have possibly known about it. Well, why do you? War is something that fully ends before it begins, one could say. The armored division was wiped out because they underestimated the enemy and skimped on information gathering. If you simply run wild without any precise intelligence to go on, you're all but guaranteeing your own defeat. Don't you agree? And by the way, I have to say that your comrade in arms was tremendously disappointing as well. I had him all set up at the exact right timing, and then some upstart demon lord completely bowls him over. Hardly a demon lord at all, I'd say. It makes me laugh. What? But him losing was more convenient in the end, I suppose. I have a basic grasp of what went on over there, and it led to the creation of someone far more fascinating than Clayman anyway. What the hell do you mean by that? Kagali exploded with anger. Any shred of remaining calm was thrown out the window. Her hatred for the man before her, Lieutenant Kondo, made her forget everything else. This was no less than a full confession that Kondo had total control over Clayman. Looking back, Clayman had clearly lost his mind over time, a trend that progressed for at least several decades, according to Laplace. Kagali assumed it was just the stress of becoming a demon lord, chiding herself for being overprotective of him, but if it was all Kondo's doing, that was a different story. It meant that Kondo had a hand in virtually every failure in her plans, and that was hard to forgive. Worst of all, it was Kondo's manipulation that sent her beloved Clayman to his demise. He has to pay. I'll never let this pass. Her anger was nothing she or anyone else could control. Footman, sensitive to this, also picked up on it, and thus amplified it further. In the end, ironically, that was exactly what Kondo was hoping for or aiming for, even. Getting emotional in the middle of battle. What an obvious mistake. If that's all the resolve you have, no wonder it was so easy to lead you to a trap like this. With that, Kondo pulled the trigger. Ah. There was a small bang. Kagali jumped back. There was no blood. This was a very special bullet, affecting not the body, but the mind. It was called a Dominion bullet, a treasure granted by Emperor Lidor, and it was one of Kondo's secret techniques. Each bullet contained a part of Lidor's own power, making it capable of enthralling and controlling others. However, it worked on just one person at a time, and it was very likely not to work against those with strong mental fortitudes. Kondo had an ample supply, but he still had to be very careful about how he used them. If a shot missed the mark, it'd both expose his hand to the enemy, and cost him control over whoever he last shot with a Dominion bullet. Using one to take over a demon lord's mind required targeting them while asleep or in an agitated state blinded by lust or by negative emotions like anger or grief. Once they were in the right condition, he could fire a Dominion bullet to gain full control. Well, it took long enough, but we're still sticking to the plan. Kagali, order your cohorts to cease hostilities immediately. You're a careful person, so I assume you've implanted a locking curse on the summoned. Yes, Sir Kondo. Drop the sir, please. Lieutenant is fine. Yes, Lieutenant Kondo. As you wish. Thus, Kagali fell into Kondo's hands. And just as Kondo predicted, the souls of Yuki's comrades all had a locking curse etched on them. The same was also true of Tyr and Footman, and thus they could not disobey the words of their commander Kagali. Not everyone on hand had this locking curse, but it was quickly clear just how doomed they were. Better, there isn't, to be captured than try to resist the sword. Silence returned to the darkness of the capital. If you want to hate anyone, hate yourselves for being so powerless. Everyone has their own sense of what makes right, but only when integrated into a stronger will can it be acted upon. The same is true for one's ideals. Your ambitions all vanished in the face of His Majesty's just cause. Nothing more and nothing less. This was the one true rule: survival of the fittest. Kondo was well aware of it. Of course, those who are not prepared to be crushed in the end aren't even qualified to have ambitions at all. That does not apply to you. So I'll be sure to remember your disappointments for you. Kondo himself lived with a certain resolve. That's why he never made fun of Kagali and her friends for what they attempted. If he lost, as he knew and understood from experience, he'd suffer the exact same fate.